1931, Airstream founder Wally Byam sold plans to build your own travel trailer. In response to a growing demand, he decided manufacturing was the better way to go. He then introduced the Airstream trailer, with its familiar modern design that has withstood the test of time. The Airstream trailer is a recreation vehicle that you can take to the most remote areas, yet still enjoy a fully functional living space. They can also be hooked up to outside services, so you can stay as long as you like in the comfort of home. To start, an operator puts a sheet of aircraft-grade aluminum into a press that punches the rivet holes. A worker then rivets the sheets together to make the walls of the trailer. Here, they're assembling the end shells, the rounded end sections for the front and back of the trailer. They apply sealant to all the seams. Technicians then rivet the two ends to the components that make up the trailer shell, including the floor, the walls, and the roof. A worker uses a router and a template to cut out window openings from the walls. He puts the windows in the openings and secures them in place. Another worker applies a weatherproof sealant to all the interior seams, then smooths it out to ensure good coverage. Using a crane, they lower the shell onto the chassis. At this point, they thread some of the wiring into the shell. Next comes the plywood floor, which a worker attaches firmly to the chassis. Another associate puts the door in place. He rivets the door to the shell. He takes extra care to protect the aluminum from being damaged by the force of the rivet gun. The trailer then goes into a rain test booth that simulates hurricane-strength rain. The test lasts about an hour, during which a technician makes sure the shell is watertight. Next, they apply a water-based adhesive to the interior and install insulation throughout the shell. Now they bring in the interior skin. It's the same aircraft-grade aluminum used on the outside. They trim the walls for the window openings, then lay down the vinyl floor covering. An installer trims the vinyl and uses the old-fashioned way to make it snug against the shell, because a standard carpet stretcher would poke holes in the vinyl. A worker installs the fiberglass shower stall and hooks up the drain and plumbing. He cuts a hole in the fiberglass, then installs all the shower control components and the shower head. He finishes off this residential-style shower with a frosted glass door. Next, they put in the convertible couches and beds and all the other amenities of home, including a gas stove. Finally, a technician performs quality control checks to make sure the electrical and mechanical systems work flawlessly. Only then is an Airstream trailer ready to hit the road and continue the time-honored tradition of discovery and adventure that makes this iconic recreation vehicle an American original. Horseradish has a hot history. The ancient Greeks used it as an aphrodisiac. They also rubbed it on sore body parts to alleviate pain. During the Renaissance, eating horseradish made its way from Central Europe to England. By the late 1600s, it was customary among the British to eat horseradish with beef and oysters. At the root of this hot condiment is a root. You peel away an outer skin to access a thick white flesh. Chewing or grinding the flesh releases enzymes which produce horseradish's heat, the plant's natural defense mechanism against predators. Horseradish is a leafy, flowering plant with a thick central root called the mother root and smaller offshoots called sets. After culling the mother root, farmers replant the sets, each of which will spawn a new plant. At harvest time, the first farm machine chops down the plants to ground level and rakes the leaves out of the way. Then, a horseradish harvester digs up the roots. As the roots bounce onto a mesh conveyor belt, most of the soil breaks off and falls back onto the ground. You have to keep horseradish cold to keep it hot, so the roots go directly into a cooler. The temperature is just above freezing and the humidity high, so the roots retain their moisture. To grind them fresh from the field would produce horseradish with a grassy flavor, so the roots spend about a month in the cooler. Only then are they ready for processing. At the horseradish factory, a machine washes the roots in cold water. Then a conveyor belt runs the roots through a final rinse. Workers carefully inspect the roots. They pick out any debris and discard any dark roots that would sully the whiteness of the final product. Next, the roots travel to the automated grinding system. The conveyor belt has built-in scales that control how much goes into the grinder at a time. The grinder works like a giant food processor. While grinding, it automatically feeds in a specific amount of vinegar. This stops the enzyme reaction, preventing heat from escaping. The grinder also automatically adds water and salt brine. The salt adds flavor and keeps the horseradish from browning. Next, the horseradish moves into a blender. This is where the factory adds the extra ingredients for specialty flavors, such as fresh cream for cream-style horseradish. A pumping system transfers it from the blender to a holding tank. Inside the tank, mixing blades continuously turn to prevent the ingredients from separating. En route to the filling station, the inside of every single glass container gets a blast of air to blow out any debris. The filling process is entirely automated. The machine grabs each container, aligns it under a nozzle, then squirts the horseradish inside. The filled containers move on a conveyor to the capping machine. There, a spinning head descends, screwing a plastic cap to the container. Next, the containers move to the labeler. It applies glue to the back of the labels, then slaps one onto every container. From there, the containers go off to cold storage until shipping time. Shipping via refrigerated truck, of course. Prepared horseradish has a 7-month shelf life, thanks to the vinegar and salt, which act as natural preservatives. Those critical ingredients maintain the color, flavor, and heat until you're ready to eat.